Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. I hope all of you guys are doing good. It is almost Christmas. We're 10 days away. Where the bloody hell has 2025 gone? Just on a little side tangent to start this video. I don't know if it's just these wrinkles. I'm getting old. I'm 31 years old, mate. I feel like this year has just absolutely breezed past us. And I want to remind everybody, in case you've forgotten amidst all of the chaos that is the history of Chelsea Football Club, we're the champions of the world, ladies and gentlemen. It's magnificent, isn't it? But today, we've got to go through Enzo Maresca's comments again. I look through every press conference. I watch games and I sometimes watch them back again. And I go through as much as I possibly can to give myself the best knowledge and I give myself the best ammunition to have an opinion about Chelsea. You can't really have an opinion about something if you're not interested, if you don't pay attention. And maybe some of you will be like, Benson, don't fuel the flame, all right? You don't need to speak about this. But Enzo Maresca's press conference today is telling. If you actually watch the presser, I strongly advise you do that. If you don't watch the press conference, then you might just think I'm waffling. You might think I'm talking nonsense, okay? But Enzo Maresca was asked about the comments that were made in the press conference post-Everton, which by all accounts was a very good result, good performance, clean sheet. We're back in the top four. Cheers, Palace, for the defeat to Man City. But Enzo Maresca was asked about the comments that were made in the question regarding Malo Gusto, where Enzo Maresca came out, and if you didn't watch yesterday's video, I'll tell you now, he said the worst 48 hours at the club. He also went on to proceed to tell everybody that he loves the supporters and that he's happy with the supporters. And again today, in the press conference, Enzo Maresca reiterates the point that he wants the best for the supporters. And I'm analysing the body language here, and I might put a little clip over the top.
Or is it more serious? Does he have a problem with the sporting directors? Does he have a problem with one of the owners at Chelsea? Obviously, when you make those comments, you have to accept the fact that people are going to talk about them.
And Enzo Maresca, when asked about whether or not it was the sporting directors that he has an issue with, there's almost no facial reaction. When asked about the owners, there is a pretty obvious nod of the head. Now, you might say, Benson, you're completely clutching at straws here. You're completely going down an unnecessary path of scrutiny. To me, in my personal opinion, which this channel is my channel, I can say what I think, what I feel. I think something's gone on behind the scenes here. And I think it's right from the very top, potentially, at Chelsea. And I think Enzo Maresca is quite within his rights to stand up for himself. And even when it comes to talking about the Cardiff game, which is tomorrow night, Enzo Maresca goes very much into we're focusing on the game tomorrow. I'm here to focus on Cardiff. Can we talk about Cardiff, please? And obviously then he reiterates a point, which is that it would be his third semi-final during his time at the club, which is, by all accounts, factual information, Conference League win, Club World Cup win. This would be his third semi-final as Chelsea manager. Now, whatever is going on, if there is anything going on, Enzo Maresca certainly doesn't squash any of those questions here, really, does he? Doesn't really say anything. He says he's committed to being the coach of Chelsea, which, of course, Enzo Maresca would be. And that is what he would be saying right now. If it was so dramatic and so bad, he'd have been sacked already. He'd have walked already. That isn't the case. Maresca is Chelsea's manager. But I do think, from everything that we heard in that presser at the weekend and what I can see from Enzo Maresca, from his body language in this interview, in the press conference pre-Cardiff, I feel as though something has gone on behind the scenes. But I think right now Enzo Maresca deserves the backing. And I never want to try and sway people's opinion. I say what I think, it's my piece, and everybody's entitled to their own piece and their own opinion. That's football. That is life. It's freedom of speech, right? I think Maresca deserves to be backed. I think the way that he has conducted his time at Chelsea has been good on the whole. It certainly isn't perfect. And I think a lot of that can be down to footballing, technical decisions that we see on the pitch. But I certainly think the positives of what Enzo Maresca's brought to Chelsea massively outweigh the negatives. 2 trophies, which by all accounts, people say, oh, it ain't the Champions League. Well, were we even in that competition last year? Was it even remotely possible? If it was Tuchel managing us, if it was Ancelotti, we could never have won the Champions League last season. So the Conference League win was as good as it could be. The Club World Cup, fantastic. Knockout, 7 games. We won the whole flipping lot, mate. And that was as good as he could have done. Premier League, back in the top 4. By all accounts, a good season. This season, a couple of weeks ago, we were second. We were closing in on Arsenal. And yes, I'm the first to come out and be like, what is going on? When I see those performances and the results that we got before that Everton game. So I think it's right on all accounts here that whatever has been said probably should have been said. And maybe in the heat of the moment after the Everton game, Maresca has come out and kind of like put it out there that maybe there was a difficult conversation that has been had with somebody at the Chelsea Football Club. And again, we don't know still. It's all speculation. But I certainly think there's something has been said behind the scenes, which makes Maresca come out here and stand by his word, which by all accounts, I fully respect that. The way that he's come out in the press conference pre-Cardiff and spoken about this being obviously a big game, which is very different to what we saw last season. By all accounts, I think Chelsea struggled at Newcastle to even take the game seriously. I don't think we wanted it last year in the Carabao Cup. We got knocked out after a long trip to Newcastle. And this year, it's very much, we got Cardiff. They're top of League One. If we win this, we're through to another semi-final. Maresca obviously reminded us it's the 3rd semi-final since he's been at the club. And he's come out and he said he's committed. So whatever has gone on, if anything, behind the scenes, I think Enzo Maresca is fully committed to what he's doing here at Chelsea. And if the hierarchy believe that it's become untenable because there is a rift, and listen, by everything that we've been reading or seeing, it does seem as though things aren't perfect behind the scenes. There was always going to be a review at the end of this season for Enzo Maresca. It wasn't a one-year thing. It was going to be, have your first season, then the second season, then we analyse. Do we give you a new contract? Do we go down another path? So this year is a big one for Maresca. And I think as much as I've said a lot in the last couple of weeks about this isn't good enough, it isn't good enough. And scrutiny is absolutely a part of the job. If you can't take the heat, get out the kitchen. Critique is always going to come your way at a club the stature and size of Chelsea. We got standards here. Going to Leeds and being beaten is going to upset the fan base. It's going to upset the hierarchy. If the hierarchy want to keep the standards, that's important. When we lose in Atalanta, in a game that we're firmly in control of, and we see some questionable subs, questions are going to be asked. And that is the nature of the beast. That's part and parcel of it. So, by all accounts, I want Chelsea now, and Maresca and everything, to just focus on winning football matches. If you win football matches, there's no need for critique. There's no need to be questioning whether or not someone's the right guy. I personally think Maresca deserves to be backed. I think he's done more than enough to show and prove that he can take this football club forward in the way that he's managed certain players coming back from injury. As much as we can talk about rotations and maybe sometimes not liking the personnel switches and changes, Reece James being fully fit and able to play 3 games in a week is a big milestone for him. It's big for Chelsea to have our captain back out there. We've now got Caicedo coming back into the team. That's going to be a huge benefit for us domestically. Probably play against Cardiff, definitely in the weekend against Newcastle. And as well as that, Cole Palmer now. He's come out in this press conference too, and as much as, you know, the fans might want to hear, oh, Cole Palmer's back and he's playing, no. Maresca's not going to risk him against a League One opponent who probably will come out all guns blazing, very aggressive, to try and get under Chelsea's skin, to try and use their home atmosphere to frustrate Chelsea and make us panic. No Cole Palmer. I think that's the right decision right now. So there's a fine line here between balancing between going out there and trying to win every game, still managing the schedule, and also, apparently, it seems as though there might well be something going on behind the scenes, because the way that I read into Maresca's body language is that, you know, he's not talking about anything, but he's also not coming out on a limb and being like, I'm backed by the directors. I support the vision. There doesn't seem to be clarity that everyone is singing from the same hymn sheet. That's all I want to say on the matter today. Little video update on this. There's also some more Chelsea news that we're going to go through here. And the first piece of news outside of this interview, whole debacle, shenanigans, right? Thiago Silva is going to be a free agent in January. Now, I've had a lot of people message me on Instagram today, particularly saying, Benson, have you seen Fabrizio's update? Thiago Silva is looking for a club. He's leaving Fluminense. This is the wrong decision for both, and I'm going to tell you why. Chelsea shouldn't be going for Thiago Silva when we need to be given a pathway to Josh Achampong into the first team. Wesley Fofana, Trevor Chalobah, they've built a partnership that is worth backing, that is worth supporting and seeing game in, game out right now. Thiago Silva is leaving because he wants minutes before the World Cup. Thiago Silva knows that he's at that point in his career now where he can't be having a break and then going and playing for his country. Brazil, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Brazil. There always is. But I don't necessarily think Brazil are as strong as they'd want to be. Thiago Silva wants to be at his best. He wants to go back to Europe. Now, I don't want to see Thiago Silva, purely from a selfish perspective. I don't want to see him play for another Premier League side. Would he? I absolutely think he would. Is there plenty of teams in the Premier League right now that would absolutely love another centre-half? I'm sure Liverpool would be interested in him. Please don't do this, Thiago. I really don't want to see you play for Liverpool. But look, I don't think he's going to go back to Chelsea. Some might say it'd be great to have him around the dressing room. Absolutely, it'd be great to have him around the dressing room. If he wasn't trying to play as much football as possible to get ready for Brazil for the World Cup, I'd be backing this all day long. If it's purely because he misses Europe and wants to live in his house in Cobham, fantastic. Bring Thiago Silva in there. Start getting him into the coaching side of things as well. But no, he wants to play. He wants to be fit. He wants to be ready for the World Cup. The final piece of news that I want to discuss in this video today is that Chelsea are keeping tabs on Kobbie Mainoo. Bayern Munich and Chelsea are currently ahead of the pack when it comes to Kobbie Mainoo, but Kobbie Mainoo is currently looking to try and go somewhere where he's going to be a starter. Now, Napoli are also interested. He'd be going there to play alongside Scott McTominay, but I would keep an eye on this one from a Chelsea perspective because there's been rumours Enzo Fernandez might well be leaving the club at some point in the future. I personally don't want to see this. I think Caicedo and Enzo as a partnership, when they're both available, when they're both fit, I think it's a brilliant Chelsea midfield. I also wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea are looking at this because we might be ready to draw a line in the sand regarding Romeo Lavia. As highly rated as Lavia might be at Chelsea, I also think he's a brilliant player, but if you can't stay fit for any more than 2 or 3 games at a time, or 5 minutes in Karabag, then Chelsea have got to be realistic. It's the case with a lot of the players. I think Wesley Fofana, touch wood, he's in a great run right now. He's looking fit, he's looking healthy. A lot of it down to the man management from Enzo Maresca. Same with Reece. There was a time where myself and a lot of others were like, when are we going to have to sign a new long-term permanent right back because Reece can't stay fit? So with Lavia, it's very much that. And I think Mainoo would be a big opportunity. And I can see why Chelsea would be interested in him. I find it absolutely baffling that Kobbie Mainoo doesn't get more of a look in at Manchester United. If Ruben Amorim was to lose his job, which by all accounts, right, Man United, they're always a couple of defeats away from serious heavy pressure being on the manager. If there was a new manager coming to United, Kobbie Mainoo's straight back in the team. It's just Ruben Amorim, for whatever reason, doesn't give him the minutes that I think his quality deserves. But let's see what happens there. Bayern Munich, Chelsea, but at the moment, he prefers starting minutes. Will he get that at Chelsea? Probably not. If Enzo's fit and Caicedo's fit, that's the midfield. Reece James as well, that's the midfield. So let me know your thoughts on everything. And like I said, I strongly advise you go and watch the Maresca press conference just so you think I'm not here just having a little waffle. I'm not making this video purely for the sake of it. I actually think this is big news at Chelsea right now, that there does seem to be something going on. We don't know exactly what's been said. We don't know exactly who it's with. But when you've got multiple owners, Behdad Eghbali is the main guy. Todd Boehly is kind of the outward face, more so than Behdad Eghbali. Then you got 2 sporting directors beneath that and various other members of the backroom staff and the hierarchy at Chelsea. Maresca is the coach, not really the manager even. So there's so much going on. It's going to be always difficult to please everybody when you've got so many moving parts. And the goal, as we all hope, is to win, win, win. When that doesn't happen, you're going to get questions. Simple. From the fans and from people that are paying your wages. So I think back Maresca right now from me. You pick whatever you want to do. If it's not even about sides at this point. Maresca's the gaffer, and we got a game to win tomorrow. That's what it's all about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. It's been kind of just like a little storm of words from me today, but I think that was the right way to approach it in my opinion. I'll see you guys in the next one.